Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to use thermoplastic to make another one of these. So if you want to see how I do it, make sure you stay tuned because this will be pretty fun. Hello BSC family and welcome back to my bench. So in today's video we're going to make another one of these. Okay, this is for the Flying Dutchman that I'm building. It's a wooden model ship, and if you haven't seen any of them, go check up here in the corner. Go check out what I'm building. And it's a ship that's supplied by OcCre, so there's a link for them down in the description if you want to check them out. But yes, one of these is missing, and I'm going to make another one. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. Make sure that all notifications are turned on so you don't miss out on anything. Hit that like button for me and share out these videos, please. Now, as you can see, I kind of already did it, and it's because I had an audio problem. And me is the problem. I forgot to turn my microphone on. So I'm going to redo all this. Now, what you're going to need is this stuff here. Don't ask me what it's called. I just know it's a thermoplastic, right? It's from Japan. I get it on Amazon. There's like 6 sticks in here, I think, 6 or 8 sticks. Anyways, they come as a complete square stick. That's the way these were when I first did the recording. But anyways, what you do is you take 1, 2, 3, depending on how many you need, and you're going to throw it into boiling water. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you this. It is boiling water. Don't burn yourself. Use common sense, but the hotter the water, the better. So, in this ship, there is a bunch of medallions that are needed. Now this thing here goes like this, right? And one is missing, okay? Now if I would have known this from day one, I would have sent an email to OcCre saying, hey, there's one missing, could you send me one? But since I'm at the point that I'm needing it now and I'm building it, if I were to do it now, it would probably take at least a couple weeks to get here, and well, I want it now, so we're going to cast one. And yeah, so I'm going to go get my boiling water that just shut off. I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've got my water boiled, this is hot, so again, be careful. All right, so we're going to throw that in. We're going to let that soften up. So yeah, like I was saying, you could use casting resin, UV resin, right? You could try green stuff, like some sort of green stuff of epoxy putty, but I think trying to get the epoxy putty into some really small areas is going to be fairly difficult, right? I mean, you're trying to get into some pretty small areas there and trying to squish the putty in. I don't know if you'd get all the detail that you'd need. I'm going to use 5-minute epoxy. I think that's going to be best for my situation, because I mean, if you had to make stuff like this, you know, or it's like a little skeleton with a face on it, to me that would be quite difficult to do so, right? If you had stuff like this, you know, again, that'd be probably fairly difficult to try and get all of those intricate details in there, right? You know, here's a flag, same thing. So So now that we got that in there, carefully take that out, that's warm. And this, as you can see, you know, it's very malleable now, right? Now the longer you leave it in there, the softer it's going to get to a certain point anyways. But yeah, you're just going to squish all this up. I think it needs to be in there just a little bit longer. So I'm going to throw that back in. Get it thinned out, it'll help soften it up faster. Put that back in there. I'm also going to put something on top of it to keep it submerged. Okay, there we go. It should be soft enough to do what we want. Get that out of there. The screwdriver is quite warm. So is the water. Okay, so yes, nice and malleable now. So we're going to kind of fold this up into a block that is going to be usable for the size we need. Squish it all together. Try to make sure there's no bubbles in the way. So now we're going to take this, we're going to try to push it in there. Make sure it gets into the teeth area. And then I try to take it and put it on some flat surface. You don't want the stuff over top of what you're pouring, because then you got to try and get that out of there without it breaking. You want to try and keep it flat and level. And if you want, you can try to make a bit of a dam if you're going to be using some sort of resin or something. Now this ain't going to be perfect, but it's definitely going to give you another piece if you're in kind of a situation like I am. Okay, so we're just going to let that cool, and then once that's completely cool, we'll peel that piece out of there, and we'll get into mixing some epoxy resin. So I shall be back in just a minute. Okay, so I've let this sit for a bit, and I mean it's barely over room temperature, but the way to check it is if you push on it and it's not totally malleable, you know, I'm leaving some fingernail marks, but that's going to happen. So we're going to pop this up, right, and it's staying, it's keeping its shape, so we can easily pop this out of here now, right? So now we got this. Now if this didn't turn out the way you like it, you know, you're missing a bunch of detail or something, you can always throw this stuff right back in the hot water and squish it up again and start all over, right? So mine looks pretty good. Let's see if I can get a better view here for you. So as you can see, it's hard to see, but you can see that it's picked up pretty much all the detail that I need. Now again, this is going to be in a spot that you're not really going to see, and it's going to get painted over and a bunch of different things. So it's definitely going to work good enough for me. All right. So we've got some 5-minute epoxy. I just get this stuff from the dollar store. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. We're going to break this open, or there we go. Break it open. Like so. I got a little bit of old wax paper here. We're just going to mix a bunch up. Now with this stuff, it is from the dollar store, so if you need to make extra, go right ahead. Okay. I've already broken out the cap that goes on it, so put that on, seal that, like so. We're going to grab some toothpicks here, which I forgot to grab, so give me a sec. Yeah, I got some toothpicks here. We're going to mix this stuff up. And mix it up good. You don't want to have this stuff not cure. And then, yeah. Then it just makes a real big mess. Now again, this stuff is very cheap, the thermoplastic. You can easily If it gets wrecked, you can just easily pick up some more. Alright, so I've got this mixed up now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the toothpick. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more for you again. Oops, sorry for the camera. Okay, so we're going to bring this over. Now, I'm going to use the toothpick. I'm going to pick up a bunch, and I'm going to let it run in there. And again, this is 5-minute epoxy, so you got to kind of be quick about it, but I'm going to try and push it all down using the toothpick, pushing it into all the tight spots first, just to make sure you're not trapping any air in there. Kind of run it up into the teeth. You don't want to go outside your mold too much if you don't have to, because then if you do, that's just more that you have to clean up after. But anywhere there's a tight groove, I'm going to try and put some in. I mean, it's inevitable, you're going to have to do some cleaning anyways, but if you can minimize it, hey, all the better. Now, if you do end up thicker than you need, you can always sand this down. You know, put it flat on some probably 320 or so, maybe 400 grit sandpaper, and just sand it down until it's where you need it. And that'll help bring out your details again, like the teeth in this instance. Now I am going to just gently ride it up the side, because that's what I'm going to do, is sand this a little bit. So I want a little overflow. And if I'm not mistaken, this is already starting to set up. Yep. So I should be good. So we're going to let that completely set up. Sorry if you didn't see all that, but yeah, so we're going to let that completely set up, and see it's sitting flat, so it's kind of leveling itself out. And something I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of heat. So I'm going to mute this for a second. Okay, so I'm going to let this completely set up. Probably give it, 15-20 minutes. I know it says 5-minute epoxy, but it is dollar store stuff, so it's probably going to take a little longer than that. Yeah. So when this is completely cured, I will come back. We'll demold it and see what we got. Okay, everybody. Well, I've let this cure long enough, and as you can see, so what you're going to do is you're going to slowly work this out. You're going to peel it off to the sides. Try not to flex the piece itself. And look at that, it comes right out. Now, this might be a little hard to see, but yeah, there you go. So we've got now 2, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully, I've got some 180 grit here, I'm going to lay it flat. We're just going to carefully and gently flatten the back off. So as you can see here, I'm barely touching the back in some spots. So I'm going to keep at this. We're going to get this flat. I'm going to clean up some of the flash around the edges, and you'll see there's a little piece here around the tooth that I'm going to have to clean up as well, and some up on the top tooth here. So I'm going to finish flattening this out, and then I'm going to hit it with a primer so that you can see how good this thing looks, hopefully. So give me a few minutes, I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I got this thing all cleaned up and I got it primed. Now, considering I didn't have one, it turned out pretty darn good. Now there is some blistering holes, but again, with the nature of this ship, I'm not too worried about it. But if you were doing it, you put on your big boy glasses here, and you know, you could take some putty and touch those up a little bit. But considering you didn't have one, could be waiting 2 weeks or more to get one from far away overseas, I think this is a pretty darn good alternative, right? Now, if you were to use resin instead of 5-minute epoxy, the cure time would take a little longer, but with resin, the bubbles would rise to the surface more than, say, with the 5-minute epoxy. So it's all up to you, but let me know what you think. I think it looks pretty darn good. So we're going to get those glued onto this, right? And yeah, we'll have a new piece. So hopefully this helps you out with some stuff. If I can find the actual product on Amazon again, I will add a link for it in the description below. If not, like I said, just look up thermoplastic on Amazon and I'm sure you'll find it. Now, I'm pretty sure there's other hobby stores and stuff that carry it as well, so check around. I'm sure you can find it. This stuff is awesome. I've used it for so many different things. But yeah, so let me know what you think. Leave some comments down below. Let me know if you've used it or not before. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification, make sure that all notifications are turned on. Give me a follow on my Instagram and my Facebook group. Links for them are down in the description. And if you want to help out, I do have a PayPal me. I do have the join button. And you could also check out my Teespring store. Links for them are down in the description. So with all that being said, no matter what you're working on or what you're missing, there's always something or someone that can help you out. Just take your time, do some research, and you'll figure it all out. So until next time, later.